my research and in my teaching, I focus primarily on how gender and sexuality are impacted by nationalism, citizenship, and war. The book that I published, Citizen, Invert, Queer, looks at the emergence of lesbian identity in the early 20th century, particularly in England. I started that book by asking the question, how did we come to have our understandings of lesbian representation in the 20th century that we currently have? How is it that the image of masculine women as lesbians became the dominant understanding of lesbian identity in the 20th century? Right now, the research that I'm working on looks at the relationship of gender, sexuality, and nationalism in the United States after 9/11. I'm writing a book about the role of military spouses in military culture and about the ways in which military spouses are represented in US mass media. So I'm taking those same questions from Citizen, Invert, Queer about how culture and politics are produced during war times, and I'm applying them not to early 20th century Britain, but to contemporary United States. I looked at the ways in which homosexuality was represented in US culture right after 9/11. And with many other scholars, I was talking about the ways in which male homosexuality was projected onto Middle Eastern others in profoundly racist and xenophobic ways. This semester I'm teaching work study in feminist projects. You've got the dichotomies up there. So then how are Nagar and Swar helping you to think about them in ways that might be useful or interesting? It involves them doing 60 hours of community service work or community activism, and then also coming into seminar and talking about the ways in which feminist theory and feminist activism interact together to form what we call praxis.
So that made me think of just how like neoliberal policy, for example, like free trade, privatization, has an influence on, or actually has a tendency to exploit workers, and how that is all connected to how much money is going to nonprofit organizations and I guess other, people in need.
One thing that I really want my students to take away from the class is the idea that knowledge is produced in a variety of different locations, and also that feminist praxis happens in a variety of different locations. Just as the classroom is not the only space of knowledge production, community organizations are not the only space of feminist action and feminist engagement.
They're staying at the safe house, like they've totally uprooted their life.
Right.
And they've made this effort to reach out, and then it's like other people taking control and being like, okay, we're gonna grab you and we're gonna put you here.
That's a pretty direct power relation. Mm-hmm. I teach in some ways because that is my feminist praxis. That is where theory and community and engagement and politics come together for me. I also teach because classrooms are messy, creative, wonderful places. And particularly at San Francisco State and Women and Gender Studies, I have students who care so passionately about their lives and about the material that we're working on. It's really a pleasure to create an environment where we can work out some of the really hard questions of history and culture, and to try to think productively and critically about how we want the world to be.